What is up, 7th grade? This is lesson 88. We're going to be talking about using multiple unit multipliers to convert units of measure. So just a few things to remember: that if you multiply a number by 1, like if you said 3 times 1, you're just going to get back to that same number, 3. If you multiplied 32 times 1, you end up with 32. If you multiplied pi times 1, that's right, you end up with pi. And that even works if you have more than one that you're multiplying by. So 3 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1, that's right, it's still equal to 3. Also, something else to remember is if you take any number and divide by itself, it gives you 1. So if you have 3 and divide it by 3, you get 1. 7 divided by 7, 1. Pi divided by pi, 1. Something else to remember is that there can be units of measure that are different units of measure, but they're the same thing. So 3 feet is the same thing as 1 yard. 12 inches is the same thing as 1 foot. 60 seconds is the same thing as 1 minute. So these two things are equal to each other. So using this idea and this idea, we know that 3 feet over 1 yard, since 3 feet in 1 yard is the same thing, that's the same thing as yards over feet, and that would be the same thing as just 1. Same thing with 12 inches over 1 foot, or 1 foot over 12 inches. Those are equal, so it's just 1. And same thing with 60 seconds over a minute, or 1 minute over 60 seconds, just 1. Okay, so we're going to use this information that we just talked about to try to convert. So it says, use 2 unit multipliers to convert 5 hours to seconds. So what we have is 5 hours, and we want to convert this into seconds. So they're wondering how many seconds are in this 5-hour period. So what I'm going to do is, since I'm trying to get rid of my hours, I want to multiply this thing by a 1. And the one I want to multiply needs to have hours in the bottom. Well, I know that there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. So again, this is just a big number 1, so multiplying it by 1. And then I'm going to multiply this. So this would change my hours into minutes, but I don't want minutes, I need seconds. So multiply this by 1 minute in the denominator. I know 60 seconds is in the top. Again, because 60 seconds and 1 minute is the same thing, this is just a big 1. So I'm multiplying 5 hours times 1 times 1, so it's still going to be the same thing as 5 hours. But what's going to happen is that things are going to reduce with each other. So the hours is going to reduce with hours, the minutes is going to reduce with minutes, and the only units that I have left now are these seconds. So on the denominator, I have a 1, a 1, and a 1. So this is equal to, on the denominator, just have a 1. On the top, I'm going to have 5 times 60 times 60 seconds. Well, anything over 1 is just itself, so I just need to multiply 5 times 60 times 60, and I get 18,000 seconds. So there's 18,000 seconds in 5 hours. This next one is example 2 from your book. It says Diego wants to carpet a 16-foot by 9-foot room that has an area of 144 feet squared. Carpet is sold by the square yard. How many square yards of carpet does Diego need? So we have this 144 feet squared. 144 feet squared. So I want to convert this into square yards, or yards squared. Okay, so this is like over 1. So I'm going to multiply this by, I want a feet on the bottom. I know 3 feet is the same thing as 1 yard. But notice this is feet squared, so that means this is 2, and this is just one of them. So I need to actually multiply this by 2 of these. So because it's a feet squared, since the exponent is 2, I have to have 2 feet in the denominator, so those both will reduce. So this feet would reduce with that one and that one, because there's 2 up top there, right? I should maybe do it like this. That one and that one and that one. And then, so on the denominator, I am going to have 1 times 3 times 3. On the top, I'm going to have 144 times 1 times 1 times yards squared, because yards times yards is yards squared. And then this is going to equal to 144 over 9 yards squared, which is going to equal to 16 square yards, or yards squared. So make sure you're keeping your units of measure on these. Alright. A masonry contractor needs to pour a concrete foundation for a block wall. The foundation is 1 foot deep, 1 foot wide, and 100 feet long. A concrete truck will deliver the concrete. How many cubic yards of concrete should the contractor order? So, if you order concrete, you order it in the cubic yard. So let's find out how many cubic feet he needs, right? So the volume of that pour he needs to do is going to be 1 foot times 1 foot times 100 feet, which is going to be 100 feet cubed. So cubed up there. So I have 100 feet cubed. I need to convert that into cubic yards, or into yards cubed. So I'm going to have 1 yard up top, 1 foot on the bottom. Sorry, not 1 foot, but 3 feet. Times 1 yard on the top, 3 feet on the bottom, times 1 yard on the top, 3 feet on the bottom. So let's see here. This is going to go with that. That's going to go with that. And the second one is going to go with that. So I'm going to end up with 100 yards cubed on the top, because it's 100 times 1 times 1 times 1. And on the denominator, it's going to be 3 times 3 times 3, which is going to be 27. So I'm going to take 100 and divide by 27, and I get this, 3.703703703, etc. So I'd say about that many yards cubed is what I would go with there. 3.7 yards cubed, or if you can only get it by, like if you only order 3 or 4, then obviously you need to order 4 yards cubed. Okay, now for example number 5, it says Claude's car averages 12 kilometers per hour per liter of fuel. Sorry, not per hour, per liter of fuel. So 12 kilometers per liter of fuel. So I don't know about you, but that doesn't really mean anything to me, because I think in miles per gallon. Is that good? Is that bad? I don't know. So Claude's car averages about how many miles per gallon? So in order to do this, we need to maybe look up a few things. We need to figure out how many kilometers are in a mile and how many liters are in a gallon. So you can look that up really anywhere you want. Online, in your book, ask your mom or dad, see if they know. But if you look it up, you'll find out that 1 kilometer is about 0.62 miles, and that 1 gallon is about the same thing as 3.781 liters. Now, if I give one like this to you on your quiz for Friday, then I'll give these units for you. These ones up here with minutes and feet and yards and inches, I think those ones you should know on your own. But if I had something like this, it's converting between different kinds of measurements, then I'll try to give those to you. So we know that he has 12 kilometers per 1 liter. That's what this says, 12 kilometers per liter of fuel. And we want to convert that into miles over gallons. Okay, just because we're used to looking at miles per gallon, so then we'll know, is that good or bad? So we want to convert this. Let's first off get rid of the change kilometers into miles. So I want to have the 1 kilometer down here on the bottom and the 0.62 miles up on top. Again, because these two are the same, this is just 1, right? And because we have kilometers on the top and on the bottom, those parts would reduce with each other, which is what we're wanting because we're trying to change kilometers into miles. So now if we were to multiply this, we would have miles over liters, but I don't want liters, I want gallons to be down here. So then I'm going to multiply this by another 1 using the gallons and the liters. So notice my liters is down here on the bottom, so it means I want my liters up here on the top, so they'll reduce with each other. So I'm going to say 3.781 liters on the top and 1 gallon on the denominator. Now this liter will reduce with that liter, and the units I have left will be 12 times 0.62 times 3.781, and the only units up on top is miles. On the bottom will be 1 times 1 times 1, and my unit down here is gallons. Also this is also just 1. This is also just 1, again because these two are the same. So like I said, this is going to be 12 times 0.62 times 3.781 miles. 1 times 1 times 1, which is going to be 1 gallon. So I'm going to throw that on my calculator. And I find out that it comes to be 28.80024, so that's probably good, miles per 1 gallon. Or maybe an easier way to write that would be 28.8 miles per gallon, MPG. So this would be our conversion. So now we can say, hey, look, that is actually pretty good mileage. 28 is not too bad. I wish my car got that. So we could be like, okay, that does get good fuel mileage if you're talking to a friend that lives in another country that uses liters and kilometers or kilometers. All right, so your homework is on page 606. You're going to do the practice set, all of the 88s, all the 87s, and then 7 more of your choice. Good luck, guys.